Free Game Podcast, man. Welcome back.
Free game shit.
In case you forgot or you didn't know, man, I am J2, by the way.
Everybody need that dollar sign. We all know it. I ain't gonna do too much. But, we all know it. I need it. You need it. Everybody watching it need it. And we got a special guest today. My dog, Edvante, man. Edvante Showers, man. Introduce yourself, big dog.
Oh, what's up, man? Edvante Showers here, man. I'm from Hammond, man. Little old Hammond, man. But glad to be here with you guys, man. Thank you guys for creating this platform so that we can share and give back to the community, man. So I really appreciate you guys having me as a guest.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
man.
we appreciate you pulling up, man.
We appreciate you pulling up. So, you a businessman, big businessman. Can you break down your business? Like, you know what I'm saying?
So I actually own multiple entities.
Yeah.
So some are S Corp, some are LLCs. But my S Corps actually own a couple LLCs. So in every company, they function simultaneously. So Edvante Showers Enterprises owns Edvante Showers Ministries, which is its nonprofit side, which is how we do all our give back community service stuff. And then I own Edvante Showers Investment Group, which contains my real estate profile and stuff like that. And then Edvante Showers Enterprises also own a marketing and management company. And then I also own Sage Industries, which owns SK Staffing Group. So I have a couple staffing group. We also now just bought into a franchise of a behavioral health clinic called Texas Care South. In addition to that, Sage Investment Groups have the investments that I bought for my daughter. So it owns that, and it also owns our cell phone tower entities.
Sheesh.
Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot. Okay, so you said you have a S Corp that owns the LLC?
Yes, I have a corporation that owns a couple companies. So similar to the way Johnson & Johnson is set up, right? Johnson & Johnson owns 500 companies, but it's owned by one umbrella company of Johnson & Johnson. Our setup is the same way, but inside some of our setups, we did differently where we have trusts that own certain things because of my daughter's age and how I wanted to pass it to her. But yeah, pretty much I have a umbrella company that owns multiple companies.
Okay, so for people that don't understand exactly what that means, can you break that down? Like, why not just a LLC?
So when you get to a certain size, of LLC on the tax side does not work to be able to make the company viable. And structure is everything for getting your company to the next level. So if you want your company to operate on the next level where you're intaking not just 6 figures, but you're intaking 7, 8, 9 figures, it requires a certain setup, right? So I would tell any entrepreneur the behaviors that you have now will actually dictate and determine of what you believe about your future. So how you set it up now will determine the infrastructure that you'll need, right? Because that's how you hire your teams, your staff, based upon how big you see the company, right? Because every company that you have, everything you do is built twice. It's built in your mind first, and then it's built in reality. So how big you see it is going to be based upon the needs of the company. So that structure that is needed to be able to sustain that company must be that way.
Okay. So basically, if you see your company as growing big with a lot of employees and all that, it's best to go with a corporation rather than a LLC?
Not necessarily. It's based upon what the company entails. We're moving into a more of a corporate space because I'm positioning my companies to be able to sell, right? Because that's what some people do. You build it big so you can sell it big. Right. So I have that structure to be able to sell later. But if you're just say, for instance, you're just doing a construction company, a LLC will work, and you can still hire people, you can still contract out people, you can W-2, 1099, however you have your employee structure set up. But I needed to set it up as a corporation because of the functionality of my company.
All right.
Gotcha.
So a lot of people don't know. Well, I don't know. A lot of people do know, don't know, whatever. We've been friends for a long time. Like a long ass time playing basketball. Like we both played. It was a time in our life where basketball was life. That's, woke up, slept it all day,
All
camps, tournaments, all that.
Rivals in high school, playing
playing against each other, then playing together at home. It just was our life at one point. Did you have this vision then? Like, not saying, because I know you was a kid, but I'm actually, when did this get installed in you?
Man, since I was younger, I never, most people have like that hoop NBA dream, and even though I played and I did well in it, that was not actually my dream, man. My entire life, I wanted to become a corporate attorney so that I can I wanted to run for senator and become a chief of staff to a president. I believe that the backbone of any president is their chief of staff. So it's really the chief of staff that runs the country more so than the president. Mm-hmm. The president is his face. That was always my goal, to be able to be a chief of staff to a president. That was the ultimate goal. That kind of transition based upon the season that I was in. And then when I discovered what my purpose was. So that's when that transition made. But my behavior spoke to this when I was in high school. Right. So the life that I live now, I used to say it all the time when I was in high school, but I didn't live it. Right. But now I have the opportunity to be able to live it based upon what I'm doing that is purposeful, right? So I'll tell anybody, if you're going to build a company, I'm not building it to be just profitable. I want to build it to be purposeful, because your greatest form of compensation is when you find fulfillment. It's not in finances.
Mm-hmm. That's some real shit. Do you feel like that's where a lot of company and entrepreneurs get blinded at? With the finance getting
just
blinded,
the profit.
Yeah, just getting blinded by the profit.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people start companies because they want to make money. Mm-hmm. But when you look at the percentage of how many companies that actually failed that started, it's mind blowing, right? But when you're doing this to fulfill purpose, money is attracted to it, right? So when you're walking in purpose, my compensation is people appreciation for the value I add to their life. So people compensate me according to the value that the companies add. Every company is designed to solve a problem. And I think that you'll miss your mission or miss what your purpose is when you're doing it just for profit, or you'll build something that you hate. So a lot of entrepreneurs have built companies that they hate, right? So you got a bunch of employees, so they met you in one season of your life, and you was like, okay, we got to hustle, we got to grind, we got to build this, we got to get to this 7-8 figures. And then you get there, and then the owner is unfulfilled. So now they're giving their employees a different version of them. So your employees now they fell in love with the alternative version of who you really were. Mm-hmm. And so it caused havoc within a company.
Okay.
So basically, the employees can see that you don't really mess with it like you did before, and that make them not want to be a part of it anymore.
Absolutely, because everybody that joins your team, they ultimately are purpose partners. Mm-hmm. So everybody on my team understand that this is my PCS, which means this is my personal calling statement mm-hmm. that I have for the company. This is where we're going. This is the vision. And everyone is partnering. Everyone that I hire is partnering with that vision to be able to make it a reality.
Okay. I understand that. I feel you.
And I know I was listening when we had the event, when Brad had the business event.
Shout out to Brad.
And you done rubbed shoulders and met a lot of people, like, business and why. Because, everybody always be like, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So how did that, help you move forward with, what I'm saying?
Relational intelligence.
Yeah, right.
So I think I said this at the event, but I write this in my book, and I said that your most successful people value people over profit, relationship over revenue, and impact over income. And so there are certain things in certain rooms that I go in that money can't buy you to get in that room. You got to have a relationship. So the Bible says this. The Bible says a good name is better than riches. So if your name is good, your name can walk you into a room versus your money having to walk you through a room. So I've been, by being in the industries that I get to navigate, I've learned that you got to have the right people walk you in the room, because the wrong person can walk you in the right room and cause you to miss an opportunity based upon the integrity and the character of that person. And so you'll miss an opportunity based upon somebody else's integrity and character when this is not even how you operate. And so now your relational intelligence is what's going to determine whether you get to the next level. So if you give most people $1 million, most of the time within the first year they'll be broke, because they haven't had people to surround themselves with to be able to help them become relational intelligence. But I don't need $1 million to have $1 million behavior when I have the relationships that are at the $1 million level. So that makes it different, right? So the relationship is almost just as good as a currency.
Yeah, I feel it.
Sometimes better.
Yeah. So when we talked, and I was like, man, my calendar is crazy to be able to do this. And I told him, he was like, well, how much you charge to do this? I said, based upon my relationship with him, this is not going to cost you.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's relationship, right? And I value the relationship that he and I have over money, because money is going to come.
For sure. That's real shit. So, with being from here and all this stuff, 985 stuff, I'm saying, like, do you ever just be riding around and see a vision of something you want to bring here? Like just anything, like contribute, you know what I'm saying?
All the time, man, I see stuff, the need of the community that I would really like to be able to bring here. It's the functionality of this community that the support is not that great. For example, I'm doing an event October 25th and 26th, probably.
Ice machine. I didn't know what that was.
Probably one of the largest events that Hammond or this area would probably even attract. So I have a bunch of A-list celebrities, B-list celebrities, all coming here to actually pour into the community. So we're going to have classes on entrepreneurship. And when I say this, like, I got Garcelle Barabbas, Megan Good, Darren Henson, Vaughn Hebram, Drika Gates. I'm bringing in Robert Smith, the billionaire. Like, I'm bringing in people who actually can pour into you, develop you, to grow you. And the support here has been very weak. That people don't want to pay to play. But the greatest investment you'll ever make is the investment into yourself.
Exactly. So
you can't tell me that you want to walk into this room with these great people importing you and you only want to pay $100.
Right.
Because that doesn't work at this level.
Right.
If $100 is all you're willing to pay, that means that you haven't developed yourself.
I feel that.
You have not entered the personal development space where you decided that I've made a decision to grow. The greatest asset that my company have is me. Because I'm going to grow, develop so that I can grow and develop others. Great leaders develop and deploy other leaders.
Right.
So if you haven't grown and developed you, then how you expect to be able to own a company, run a business, or even just do something great in the community?
That's facts. You're talking, bro. How do you go about, like, what is your vision that you have when you go about hiring or staffing?
So we have a kind of a strenuous process now that we do. So when we'll interview, we do all of our background checks, and then it also depends on what level of staffing, right? Because I own a staffing agency. Yeah. So that level of staffing is not the same as the staff that I have that are my personal staff. Right. So the interactions of those people are all different. Right. Based upon what level that I'm hiring them at, right? So I try to discover who they are, right? So this is the statement I've said: you don't go as far as your dream, you only go as far as your team. So based upon me hiring them is finding out, do they have the skills to fulfill the things I need them to do to take this company to the next level. So determine, do I really need a PA, which is a personal assistant, or a VA, a virtual assistant? Right. It's going to be based upon what season my company is in and the level that I'm trying to grow it to.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I got confused.
My assistant walked out. Speaking of that, look, I got an amazing team. They just show up.
yeah, right. That's what's up. That's what's up. That's on, bro.
You said that the support here is very weak, which we see ourselves. What would you tell someone like us, like our platform? We're trying to get it to be more widespread than just the area. What would be your advice for us to, I guess, focus on more?
Build it bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Build it bigger.
Build it bigger, and but how? Because
this is the thing. If Jesus' local community didn't support him, what make you think your local community support you?
That's facts.
The Bible Jesus told him, hey, just dust your feet off and move to the next city. And sometimes people have to appreciate you from afar to value you up close. And so you have to set those boundaries of, this is the level of value that I have, and I'm going to get there whether you support me or not. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the boundaries I set. I am not, I come to this community, but I am not as active in this community as I am in the actual community I live in, due to the fact of this free game. So I could just say it.
Oh, yeah.
Him just has a crab in the bucket mentality.
Yeah,
So it's like, if I see you doing good, I'm not going to support you because I got to see if you're going to be doing better than me. Mm-hmm. And it's a real tough situation because you could be walking along somebody and you start doing well, and then they see you as competition versus them pushing you to the next level. And so what I've done now is I've surrounded myself with people who are at a different level. And so the mindset have to change, right? Mm-hmm. So the biggest thing is, I say, if you change your mindset, then you'll build it bigger. The same thing God told Noah. He told him, he said, go build the ark. Noah's like, there's no rain. It haven't rained in years. But if you really believe that it's going to rain, you'll build the ark and it's going to save your family.
Right.
And it's going to build its own community and its own new world. And that's what you call it. So you got to build your ark even though it's not raining. Build it bigger.
Feel it. And it starts with y'all, the people that support, man.
People who value you and what you have will come and find you. They'll seek you out. Mm-hmm. Because they need something that you have. So never hide or miss this phase, right? Because the hardest thing that I've done was this year I had my birthday party here. Mm-hmm. First time I've ever brought it back, and I have a birthday party every year. First time I ever brought it back to Hammond. We were filming for a reality show during my birthday party. Some people did not get in because they did not RSVP. They felt like they knew me, so they thought they were gonna have an override. And my team was like, "Nah, we not killing that." So I got deemed as the bad guy, that I think I'm better than, or I think I'm bougier than. But you didn't take the proper steps to be able to get into something that you had an invitation to. Mm-hmm. So is that my fault or yours?
Yeah, right.
Because people will always underappreciate your value until they understand that I'm valuable up close now, but when I'm afar, I'm going to treat you the same way.
Right.
So I don't discount small beginnings. You know, like there are certain things that it really add no value to me, but I'll still do it because my goal, my life purpose is to add value to others. So keep going, bro. Don't let this season of discouragement stop you.
Yeah, I needed to hear that.
Yeah, because we sure be having our moments, bro.
Yeah,
we be
all
having
the
our
time.
moments, bro.
I'm petty. I'm real petty.
Me too.
Yeah.
So if somebody would have told me, hey, this ain't gonna work, or I'm not gonna support you, I'll go buy a billboard.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Just do something extra, buy it and put it in the middle of the city so the people who didn't support me can see me every day.
Right. Like, you gotta see this. Right.
Yeah.
I feel it.
How about this? I released a book January 3rd, January 4th. We made bestsellers list 5 categories.
And talk about that, man.
I had 0 people from Hammond buy that book.
Right.
There wasn't Hammond that supported me.
Right. And you still made the bestseller.
I made the bestseller
Shout out,
list.
man.
Shout
Shout
out,
out.
man.
Yeah, man. You could talk about that.
Yeah,
a little
what's the
bit.
name of the book?
So that book that made bestsellers is called The Sound of Leadership.
Okay.
And I use an orchestra to be able to teach people how the conductor can make a harmonious sound among your team so that you can lead well, build your team well, so your team can operate in harmony and move forward and make strides in the next season. So that's kind of the gist of the book.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's dope, bro. That's dope. Hey, I want to ask you this, bro. Being the businessman you are and having, I know you be, because we had to schedule this, you on a set schedule, all this stuff. How did that work with your love life and relationship life right now?
So relationship wise, because I'm single, I can navigate it differently, right? But I have a daughter, so my daughter is always factored in my schedule. So if you look, like, my daughter travels with me sometimes, but it doesn't really play as much a part. But it does make it hard, because on this level, it's harder to date because people see you differently. So it's just, and when I say that, like, I can't date here because people see dollar signs. So you got to weed out whether they here for me or they here to get something from me.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay.
And when you say here, you mean like this area?
Oh, I don't date women in this area. It's just a boundary I have. So I just don't date women in this area. It's not my, But I also won't do a super long distance relationship either. So I'm not dating somebody in LA and I'm flying them out. That's crazy.
Yeah, feel it.
So, are you looking, or you just like whatever comes?
Oh, absolutely. So I'm looking, but I did more personal development for myself in that space. So I position myself to be a husband versus to be somebody's boyfriend. So if a woman come into my life, she's got to realize that she's going to have to already be in the position to be a wife and not just be a girlfriend, because I value something more than sex. And so a lot of women only see that, hey, this is what I have to bring to the table. I need you to bring something real to my table.
Right.
Because I don't need you to cook and clean. One, I have a housekeeper and a chef. Two, I can cook and clean myself. My mama taught me well. So I don't need that.
Right.
Even if I got married today, my wife probably would not do most of the cooking because I have a team for that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I need her to come in my life and add value. Can you manage and take what I need to the next level? I got to assess that if what I build, if I die today, can you maintain it to take it to the next level?
All right. I bet that's a hard task for you.
Because
I know they like, I ain't got time for all that.
I done seen, on social media, people like, I'm not going to act like a wife if I'm your girlfriend. How do you feel about that? Because you say that, you're looking for somebody to come in and already take on that role. How do you feel about that?
So language is everything, right? What you call it is what it becomes.
Right.
And so I'm not saying that I'm going to start dating you and we're going to share bank accounts.
Right.
That's a wife privilege.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But if I'm dating, I want to get to know you. I want you to add value to me, but I don't need you trying to figure out. I don't have time to deal with your insecurities. I travel too much for that.
Right.
This year alone, I think we're at like 200,000 sky miles just in the air traveling. So I don't have time to babysit your feelings of you being insecure when we walk in certain rooms. I need you to be sure of who you are when we walk in certain rooms.
Right.
Because in this space, the rooms I walk in, that's going to make somebody that look better than you. But you got to know that I'm here for you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So an insecure woman wouldn't be able to navigate my space.
Feel it?
I got just asked the other day on the podcast, like, hey, would I date a woman that makes less than six figures? And I was like, yeah. Because I'm not dating her for money. Her money doesn't dictate and determine the table that she actually brings. Mm-hmm. The table that she brings to me is, can you add value in areas where I'm poor in? because everybody has an area that they're super rich in, that they're super poor in. So, and I'm not talking financially. I'm talking.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
I'm talking like you could be super rich in joy, but you're poor in management of finances. Like there's something that you're weak in. Does that woman come in and complement my weaknesses so that we can grow together? Because I'm not, there are a lot of men who think I'm the man, I should handle the finances. But can you count?
Right. Right.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
So why wouldn't you allow the woman to manage the finances if you can't count it?
Right,
if the light's gonna be off, listen, I'm gonna just let her take care of it.
Right.
So you gotta understand, like, this is not a gender role thing. It's what do you bring to this table that's already made out for you?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even need you to bring a chair. I need you to bring you and your value that you personally have, add value to what I got going on.
Understand that.
I know that's a slippery slope because even though you're making it that simple for the women, it's just as hard. I'm just saying that the women I'm out here just analyzing and all this stuff. I can see that just being a slippery slope, bro. But man, it'll come
men,
eventually.
I'll say it this way because I think that I can speak towards the majority. Most men don't want a woman who dream about him. He want a woman who dreams for him. So men are vision casters. We plant seeds, but we actually don't birth anything. So if I plant this seed in this woman, will you miscarriage it or can you carry this full term? So what I plant in you, I need you to be able to bring it and hand it back to me. So if I'm talking to someone who's my wife and I say I want a house, that's all I want to say as a man. I want a house. I don't care what color the floors are. I don't care what size. You just go find it and you say it's 5 bedrooms, it's got floors like this, it got a staircase like this. Paint that, let me know. And then my job is to write the check. I'm going to make sure that you're provided for because as a man, I'm going to make sure that I fulfill my wife's desires. And so that's why I say, like, for me, I position myself to be a husband when I say that. If you look at the model that God created in the beginning, he put Adam and he created a garden and everything Eve needed was already in the garden. All Eve had to do was move in. Well, for myself, I've created that garden that all my wife have to do is move in. I don't need you to bring a car, nothing. All you got to do is move in. So I positioned myself to be that type of man for my wife.
So I feel that.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask, with all you got going on, what do you see yourself 5-10 years from now? Or what is your vision?
So my goal is I really want to be closer to, or I should be at a place of retirement by the time I'm 40. So that's about 5 years from now. So I should be at a place of retirement where I could really spend and enjoy my daughter.
Right.
So that's where my end goal is. But I have some kind of temporary goals that are set. Like I want to be able to grow my company to at least 1,000 employees. I want us to be able to cross like a $500 million mark. I want to be able to grow the companies to that. But I mean, those are very ambitious goals. We're not there yet, but those are some of the goals that I have that I want to do. I want to build a company from scratch and make it at least a Fortune 100 company before I decide to sell. Like those are some very strenuous goals, but those are some of my desires to do.
So business-wise, who you look up to? Who do you like, you know what I'm saying, look at and be like, I like what they did with their stuff, kind of, get inspiration from?
So I have coaches. I have a lot of coaches. Like I have I pay a lot of people to personal development, right? So when I say that, like I have a think coach, someone who just simply coach me and talk about my thoughts. That's it. Like, how do you compartmentalize these thoughts? Where do you place them? Are you thinking about this wrong? What's your perspective look like? I also have an executive coach and a business coach. Mm-hmm. So I have one who personally developed me, like, am I leading my team well? Am I being the best I can for them? But then I have somebody who's also reviewing my business structure. Are we structured this right? Is there great functionality? What do our systems look like? Are we fact checking things? Like, so I have coaches and stuff that are in my space that do it well. But one of my greatest mentors would probably be Dr. Darius Daniels, because he changed my life. And most people may not even know who he is, because actually he's a pastor, but probably a even better businessman.
Shout out to him.
Yeah, but he actually changed my life forever. I could not be the man who I am today if it wasn't for his pour and his yes. So I'm more thankful for his yes. That my biggest fear in life was I didn't want to be poor. So when I said yes to ministry, its automatic assumption is I'm gonna be broke the rest of my life. But I also had to say yes to the marketplace, because I needed the marketplace to be able to grow, develop others, so I could bring fulfillment to myself, because this is why I feel like I thrive in.
Right.
And so when God gave me the vision to be able to do companies and churches, God did not give me a vision for company and churches. He gave me a vision for my life that was so big that I needed companies and churches to be able to fulfill it. And so my perspective of that kind of changed. And so that's why I say that, like, he really changed my life.
Shout out, man.
You said something just now. The ministry part. Why do you feel like if you was just focused on ministry, you would have been poor?
Every example I've seen of ministry is poverty, and people believe that pastors and preachers should live in poverty. If you're a pastor and you buy a nice house or a nice car, people forget that you have a family too. Mm-hmm. And so they are like, oh, well, you stealing the tithes money, you using it for this. And that's not necessarily true in most cases, because I don't know what happens in all churches, but in most cases. And so the example that I've seen of it was a lot of pastors did not do well, so they were bivocational. So they had to work a job and still provide for the church. Mm-hmm. And I just believe that this is a Dr. Darius Daniels statement, that God did not call me to be this or that. He called me that I can be this and that. So
I feel it.
So I'm not gonna lie, that is a real thing that people point the finger at pastors and stuff, though, because I'm gonna be honest with you. I even used to think that. I ain't gonna lie, you really telling me something different, but you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I thought all that bread go to them. I thought, honestly, I used to look at them like they balling on the slick, like in a way. Like, you know, shit.
And
some of them.
Because most pastors now have to do things that are outside the church to allow them to thrive, because people don't find that it's socially acceptable for the church to pay a pastor 6 and 7 figures, but they don't realize that that's his job. He's the leader of this organization, and he should be compensated accordingly. So although I'm in ministry, I do business. So there are times where I have to draw a fine line, because, you know, sometimes I might wear a bust down rollie. Sometimes I might have on high end, or I might have on tailored. But I also allow people to see that I'm not solely dependent upon the church to be able to make that happen. I'm going to do what I do even if the church doesn't provide for me. And I don't receive a salary from the church. So,
So, you about to say something?
No, I was going to speak on that part. What would you say to the people that feel like that, like, just because you're in ministry, you're not supposed to do what's considered flashy things?
Can I speak to that a different way? Like, I'm going to answer your question, but I need to go a different route.
You got it.
So God is free. Mm-hmm. Salvation and being saved, that's free. So the word of God should be free, right? Mm-hmm. So salvation is free, but when you want optimization, you have to pay for it.
Okay.
So I'll give you salvation, but if you want your life to be optimized, you're going to pay me for it. Mm-hmm. So you got to realize that when you go into a church, if a pastor is moving your entire life to the next level, you should compensate, because that's a level of honor. Because anywhere else you go, they force you to honor. In church, they don't force it. Mm-hmm. So if you go to a restaurant, you're going to have to honor that that restaurant by paying the fee for a service that you're receiving. That pastor is giving you a service and you feel like you shouldn't honor him.
So it's disrespectful.
It is. It would be very the Bible even says that blessed is the man who he's worthy of double honor. That's what the Bible says. He's worthy of double. So I believe that you should honor the man of God. I'm not saying that from a pastoral point of view. This doesn't make me get a check for saying this. I'm just saying if you want your life to be optimized, you should pay for it. And people who don't understand that actually are people who don't want to understand, because there's no way that you would go to your job and they don't give you your check on Friday.
Right.
You gonna bounce.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense to me because, yeah, I'm about to play by their money.
So, you say you want to grow your company. Like, are you hiring? Like, how do you how does somebody, if somebody's watching this, they be like, man, I want to go work for Edvante. How would they go about it?
You know, a lot of people reach out to me and ask me, am I hiring? And sometimes I actually make posts for our companies when we need like immediate hires for certain things. I'll actually personally make a post online or on my social media platform. Bro, I actually do not get into the weeds of are we hiring, because if I'm tied into those details, I can't do the things that are needed to make the company thrive. But are we hiring? We're probably consistently hiring. But that part of our company structure didn't really go through me anymore. Yeah, right. I used to, but I don't get tied, and that's too many details to get tied into. If you want to lead a company well, that's my personal opinion. But yeah, we're hiring. You can find us skstaffinggroup.com is one of the websites, advanteshowers.org. All those websites actually have postings of if we're hiring, what area we're hiring, and they have job descriptions. And then I know they make posts on Indeed. I do know that we're hiring in the marketing company right now another travel assistant for some of our artists, because we just opened an entertainment piece of our marketing and management company. We used to strictly do athletes, where we only did NFL, NBA, baseball kind of players, but now we actually have an entertainment piece, so we're doing actors and actresses and stuff. So we hiring to be able to find people who can travel and do things with our clients in that area.
Definitely.
Is there anything else with closing you want to get off? You want to, put out there? And
man, I'll tell anybody, if you heard my journey, heard me tell my story, I've had ups, I've had downs, but I've learned that sometimes it's better to deal with the pain of people's absence versus the consequence of their presence. And I think that if people learn that life lessons, they'll reevaluate their space and their circles to be able to help them take their life to the next level. This is not just moving one thing forward. This is moving my whole life to a place of thriving. I believe that even in business, you're taught survival. So you prepare for something to go wrong, but you don't prepare for something to go well.
Right.
And so I think that that's sometimes what I was talking about earlier about the structure, how you structure it is going to actually dictate and determine what do you believe about what's in you. And so when you value what's in you, you'll learn to deal with the pain of people's absence, because people are going to walk away from you. People are going to leave you for going to hurt. Rather the consequence of their presence. If they were here, does it change your value, or does it add value to you? So that will be one of the biggest things that I would tell anybody.
That's a bar.
That's
a bar. You said a lot when you said that. They hit. Man,
I grew up with, so real deal, I grew up without my real father in my life. A lot of the stuff that I went to accomplish and work for is really because I wanted validation from my real father that never showed up for me. And so I didn't meet him he knew that I existed, came to the area, and never came to see me. And so I did things, I wanted to stride and accomplish certain things. And I mean, I've done some crazy things in the spaces that I've done, have some amazing accomplishments. And I wanted my dad to be there, and he never showed up for me. I met him when I was 16. He died when I was 19. So I met him when I was 16, didn't see him again until I was 18. He didn't even come to my high school graduation. And I graduated top of my class. And in the school system that I was in, I was fortunate enough to have great people that were around me that valued me. But I went to Albany. So I had 5 black people in my whole graduating class. So to be in the top 5 at a school like that was already has its own rigors that comes with it. So most people don't understand that. Like, I grew up just like most of them, and to be in the space that I'm in, I put in the work. I caught momentums, and then I managed each season very well. That success is not based upon culture's way of the way they seek success. My success is found in what am I willing to be faithful to? What am I willing to say yes to? And am I fulfilling my purpose? Not just my calling. Am I fulfilling my purpose? And am I playing the right role in the right season, right? So your purpose is not determined, it's discovered. So it's actually the reason why you do it. And then your calling is God's invitation for you to actually fulfill that purpose. God extending that invitation. And then the role, what am I willing to say yes to in this season? I'm not married to the seat that I'm in. I'm married to the destination that God is calling me to.
Feel that?
Sure,
That's
bro.
deep.
Real shit. Man, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm proud of you, bro.
I appreciate that, man.
Nah, for real, though, man. Like, I ain't lying, because I know where you come from. Like, I know this. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, to see you in this light and to see you on this journey, bro, I'm proud of you, bro. Real nigga shit. Brother to brother, bro.
Yeah,
For sure.
So, man, appreciate that,
man,
bro.
For sure. Man, there you go. But,
Tell your people you're proud of them, bro.
Yeah, for
You
real,
know,
man.
you
Like,
never
for
know
real,
how
bro.
much they need to hear that. You
Yeah,
know,
man.
especially if y'all come from the same place, because
Yeah.
it's rare for somebody to come from where you come from that has what's look like as less to give you them props.
Yeah, man.
You know,
For real.
because they'll rather judge you like, okay, you don't come around, you don't do this, you don't do that, than just saying, hey, bro, I'm proud of you.
Man, he think he all that. All
Yeah,
that,
like-
man. Nah, man.
Like it's not that. Like why you can't just be proud of who I am now versus who I was then.
Yeah,
You know,
man.
people, it takes a lot to be able to do this because it takes a different level of strength that you
Yeah.
didn't even know you had. Because the journey is lonely, right? So you could be married and still the journey be lonely because there are certain things that you cannot pour, you cannot release, you cannot say in certain spaces because I could say the wrong things on this podcast and it'll go viral.
Right.
I could remotely, that's why even when I mentioned Darius Daniels' name, I gave him credit for a statement because people will take the small thing and be like, well, he said this and I heard Dr. Darius Daniels say this, so now he's stealing his quotes. So you have to be careful on everything, and even if you're not meaning anything, you just got to be careful in this space. So that makes the road a little lonely, and so you don't really have friends, and you got to discern whether they're real friends or are they here because they feel like you're gonna help them get to their next.
Right.
So it's even learning. So him saying that actually gives me strength to know that I'm doing the right thing because my purpose is, am I making a viable impact on people? Am I giving them transformation? Like when somebody see me, does it make their life want to change? Because I want to be tattooed on people's heart to build a legacy. This is not about me. You know, Miles Monroe said the richest place in the world is the grave because people died with great dreams and great ambitions. And so why not allow yourself to become the richest thing in your area?
Man, boy, you dropping some gems on us. It's just like it's like the
A lot of
stuff
free
you
games.
telling us, and us as entrepreneurs. It's like I know he feeling the same
And just
way.
as
It's just-
men, bro.
Yeah, just
like
as
some
men.
of the stuff you said that's really resonating
You know.
with my life, like at this moment. So
right.
I needed that.
I mean, what's the hardest part of you guys? I know I'm turning this. What's the hardest part of you guys' entrepreneur journey right now?
Growing the audience, really.
Growing a loyal audience, because we can release something that's probably has some type of mess, you know, and that's gonna do numbers through the roof.
Yep.
But then we'll do something like this, which is positive, and we probably won't get the same reaction. So it's just knowing who's here because they want to be a real supporter and who's here for the moment. That's what I battle with personally, because it's like you shared this whenever that was on there, but now you don't share this, or I don't see you watching, I don't see you commenting, none of that no more. So it kind of makes it hard for me to know who really support this and who's just here because of the mess.
Yeah, so that audience piece is going to change in every season. And some of it is going to be based upon who you guys surround yourself with, right? At the end of the day, your faces is what carry this brand. And so perception is sometimes people's reality. So how they perceive you is really what they think of you. And so you have to start placing yourself in rooms and around people that are bigger than you. And when you do that, it causes expansion for you. They'll challenge your mindset to think differently. That's where I struggled at. Like, bro, it's way different when it's one thing like you walk in a room and you got on a Rolex and everybody's like, you got on Rolex. Oh my God, you're doing good. But when you walk in a room and
you got on Rolex and everybody
people got on bouviers.
Yeah.
It's a different tax bracket. You know, and then sometimes you walk in a room, what happens when you walk in a room and everybody is doing as good as you? What happens when you walk in a room and everybody's name is as big as yours?
Right.
It makes a difference. So the conversations that happen in those rooms are way different than the conversations that happen in rooms when you're the biggest person.
Right. Being a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah. So, bro, a lot of places that I've gotten, I don't want to go after the big name, right? So it does me no good to say I want to meet with Bill Gates. Bill Gates is great, super dope at his craft. The best person to meet with Bill Gates is Bill Gates' assistant, because she sees stuff, she does stuff that Bill Gates ain't never seen.
Right.
So she's making the functionality of what we calling great actually happen. So I want to talk to the assistant, because nobody has his ear more than her, and she know what the heck she doing.
Right. Yeah.
And it makes a difference.
Yeah, it makes, yeah.
You know,
that's like a rapper meeting with a rapper rather than the manager.
Yeah.
Like you need to talk to the manager, the one that actually, behind the scenes.
You know, that
makes sense.
I went to a dinner that they charged us a crazy amount. It was 25 people. Charged us a ridiculous amount to have dinner with Warren Buffett. This man comes in, sits at the table. I'll never forget this. He said, this is all he said. Now, we were there 2.5 hours. Now, the amount that we paid for this meal was so ridiculous, I should have got him for 15 days.
Right.
But I'm just saying, he walks in the room, sits at the head of the table and says, he leans back in his chair and says, if you're making the same amount of money this year as you did last year, I don't want you here. And start back eating. That was all he said the whole time. He let us take a few pictures with him after that, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
That's crazy.
A few words.
But for me, that was impactful because he challenged me that to make a decision, have I settled for where I was because I felt like it was good enough? And those are decisions that you have to make. Like your next is dictated and determined by will you say yes to what next look like? Will you move forward even when they don't support you?
Yeah, we will.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we done made it this far. Man, look.
It's been a journey. It's been a journey.
It's been a journey, bro. I ain't gonna lie. So
shout out to the ones that's been here since the beginning, been rocking with us. Shout out to the ones this your first time seeing us. Hey, stick around,
For sure, bro.
Think about this. I'll make you laugh. I asked Ging, I think it was basketball game. My nephew basketball game actually came one this way. I said, I was like, hey man, when you gonna bring me on the podcast? This was I think y'all was just starting, right? I think
we weren't just starting, but I know exactly the moment you're talking about.
Yeah, I said, hey man, when you gonna bring me on the podcast? He was like, I got you, bro. Just wait. At that time, where I was, that season wouldn't have worked for this podcast.
Right.
He may not knew that, and I didn't either. I asked, But the season that I was in wouldn't have worked for this podcast because I wouldn't have been able to add the same level of value that I need to add now to be able to make this contribution then that I did now, because my mind wasn't as expanded on how I think about things, how I view things then as it is now.
Right. I was probably wasn't either. 9 times out of 10.
Probably, yeah.
At that point, it probably was best that he was like,
because I had it in my mind. I was like, I just gotta chop it up with them. I'm gonna chop it up with my with my business partners and let you know. But hey, timing is everything, bro.
Yeah,
timing is everything.
The knowledge that you just dropped, the gems you dropped, all the free game you dropped on this one. I needed this more than anything right now versus whatever would have went down back then. So I do appreciate that. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, bro.
Man, with closing, man, shout out all your businesses again, man, so everybody know.
Man, shout out to my team, man. Like, you guys are amazing, man. I'm glad you guys got to work with Faith, my assistant, a little bit. But man, shout out to all of our team. So shout out to everybody at SK Staffing Group, Showers Enterprises, Showers Investment Group. Shout out to the people who are on the ground, guys that are at Ford Blue Oval working in the field. Shout out like all of my team, Colton Peterson, Holden Sanders, all you guys who make this happen. This is not happening without an amazing team. So thank you guys for what y'all do, man. There are so many people that are working behind the scene that make my life happen every day. Tiffany, Fred, all you guys. Like, my life would not be the same if it wasn't for those guys.
Shout out.
What about your social medias?
Oh, yeah, you can find me on every social media platform at I am Edvante.
For sure.
Oh, yeah. I guess that's it. If you still tuned in, man, this is, was, and always will be the Free Game Podcast, man.
Free Game.